It's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. Fifth player on my board, other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur. Outside of not being have the rocket arm and the 4.6 speed and a big frame, what is he lacking?
April 25th, 2025, draft night. All eyes were on Shedeur Sanders, the golden child of college football. The narrative was clear. Son of Dion, baller since high school, proven leader at both Jackson State and Colorado. This was supposed to be his coronation, not his humiliation. Instead, he fell and kept falling and falling until the Cleveland Browns picked him up at 144th. Overall, not first round, not second, fifth, freaking round.
To all my folks out there, right? I just want y'all to know that when you're a black man in America, right, sometimes you get reminders. You know what I mean? As a successful black man in America, I often get reminders. And in the Shedeur Sanders situation, this is just a reminder.
Now this ain't your typical draft day disappointment. This was a public reminder, loud and messy, that even when you got talent, charisma, leadership, and pedigree, some folks still ain't ready to hand you the keys. So what really went down? Was it the interviews, the attitude, the primetime shadow, or was it something deeper? Let's break it all down, because this ain't just a story about football. It's a saga about image, legacy, and one ninja trying to be the system that claims to love talent.
Bro, they gave you a completion percentage award, and all you did was throw check downs and bubble screens. If I did that, my completion percentage would be 90. I throw the ball downfield, you don't. You ran the ball. You had a run game. You had a run game. You had a run game. And you did it? No. You was toting that thing for Jordan. Think about total rushing yards. Come on, man. That ain't my fault.
As long as it stays humble, heading into April, the energy around Shedeur was electric. Scouts drooling, mock drafts penciling him in as QB3, maybe QB2 depending on the team. NFL analysts were hyping him like he was already fitted for his team's rookie jersey. Coach Prime was posting scripture. Fans were buying number 2 jerseys in bulk. It wasn't just confidence, it was destiny. And then reality hit harder than a blindside blitz. Pick after pick came and went.
It's his father's personality.
Teams that can't rectify why they didn't pick Shedeur. It's like at least 5 teams that you look at the Giants, they should have picked them.
You know, his father trying to dictate things, saying you won't do this, you won't do that. We got to stop using Mike Tomlin as the scapegoat because he's a recognizable face. The GM is Omar Khan.
Yes.
And be mad at anybody, be mad at Omar. We can't keep throwing Mike under the bus because he's the coach and that's the face we know.
Teams reached for quarterbacks with less production, less polish, and way less poise. Shedeur was left sitting, not because he couldn't play, but because they didn't want a deal with him. See, NFL front offices don't just draft players, they draft personalities, brands, stories. And Shedeur's story, a little too spicy, a little too loud, a little too Sanders. But here's what they forgot. When you bet against a ninja with nothing to lose, that's when he turned savage.
I believe that the biggest issue in all of this is primetime Deion Sanders and the thought of having to deal with him. All I'm saying, fellas, is that it's hard for me to sit here today and to watch a dude that was once projected to be one of the top 2 picks to drop completely out of the first round and to ignore all those reports.
Let's take it back, way before Colorado, before Jackson State, before the cameras and the hot takes. Cedar Hill, Texas. That's where the legend started, at Trinity Christian. Shedeur wasn't just a star, he was the guy. Over 12,000 passing yards, 166 touchdowns, 3 state championships, and a national title to boot. The dude wasn't just a quarterback, he was a prodigy. College recruiters lined up like sneakerheads on Jordan release day.
If you ain't trying to change the franchise or the culture, don't get me. You should know history repeats itself over and over and over, and I've done it over and over and over, so it should be no question why an NFL franchise should pick me. You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people gotta say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too, so it's like, it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us.
But he chose to go play under his dad at Jackson State, a move most high-profile prospects wouldn't dare make. Why? Loyalty, belief, and because real ones don't follow trends, they start them. At JSU, he was a walking highlight reel, broke records, shattered expectations, and turned HBCU football into primetime television. Then he flipped the switch again by following Coach Prime to Colorado, proving he could cook at The Power 5 level 2. He didn't just rise, he set the standard.
Predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft.
Top 4. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Anywhere from 1 through 4. One of them is going to be
Speak it into existence.
And the latter one would not go behind 4. I know where I kind of want them to go. So there's certain cities that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, you on point.
It's gonna be it's gonna be an Eli.
Now let's talk about 2023, when the college football world got baptized in Sanders sauce. Colorado went from basement dwellers to national buzz practically overnight. And at the center of it all, Shedeur, running the show like a vet. He threw for over 4,100 yards, racked up 37 touchdowns, posted a 74% completion rate like he was playing on rookie mode. Every game felt like an audition, and he aced it. His decision-making was elite. His footwork, clean.
Shedeur, first thing, when you got the 3rd pick, and then you go get this guy from Ole Miss. The reason they're doing that is because this. If the Giants go 0-2, 0-3, these press conferences is going to be like, you think you should put Shedeur in? I mean, Russell Wilson ain't living up to par, man, and we know Jameis Winston might throw 700 touchdowns. You think you might put Shedeur in?
His poise under pressure, freaking ice cold. He dissected defenses like they owed him money. But it wasn't just the play, it was the presence. Shedeur brought confidence, swagger, NIL deals, and press conference bars. He carried himself like he already belonged in the league, and that, apparently, is where things started to crack. The league doesn't always vibe with confidence that feels unearned, even when it's clearly been earned, especially when it comes wrapped in a last name that already dominates headlines.
Surprised it wasn't being talked about. That Shedeur Sanders, I told you, if you've been following the show from the beginning, told you there were 2 personnel people that I spoke to who were in the room during interviews, which means they're key parts of the organization. Let's leave it at that. 2 teams drafting in the top 10 with quarterback needs where the interviews did not go well. Not disrespectful, nothing harsh, just felt like the phrase I've been using, and I think it aptly describes it. We didn't get the sense that Shedeur cared all that much about what we thought of him.
So let's break it down. The tape flawless, the stats undeniable, the leadership proven. So why'd he drop to the 5th? Enter the interviews. Sources started whispering. He didn't seem interested. He acted like he was doing them a favor. Didn't respond well to criticism, came off a little too chill. Basically, they said he had too much prime in his DNA. Some GMs allegedly claimed he tried to influence his landing spot, hinted he only wanted to go to big city markets.
I hope you're not getting no water, we just had the first drill. That's how you feel? You get water, we ain't even done with the first drill. Let's go, that's how it is in Colorado though. Inside the numbers, top that's what it's like for a 9-win man. I didn't have water, I was doing Gatorade. So I get paid for it. That's cool. I don't need to get paid. Football pays you. You can have Gatorade.
Some were worried Coach Prime would meddle with coaching staff. Some just didn't want the baggage. Code word for a dad who can turn your locker room into a documentary overnight. The wildest part, these weren't character red flags. They were perception problems. He wasn't toxic. He was too confident. He wasn't entitled. He was too self-assured. He wasn't rude. He just wasn't scared, but in the eyes of conservative NFL leadership, that's risky. And when you're a young black quarterback who knows his worth, suddenly risk becomes a 4-letter word.
Saints select Tyler Shuck, quarterback Louisville.
Switch it up. Wow.
Then came the prank call that turned the whole thing into a circus. Some idiot spoofed an NFL number and pretended to draft Shedeur, told him you're our guy, then hit him with the old. Just kidding. It wasn't just disrespectful. It was disgusting, this kid's biggest night, and someone made him the punchline of a viral joke. Even worse, it exposed how janky NFL communication systems are. If a kid with a laptop can pretend to be an assistant GM, what else is slipping through the cracks?
You can do everything right in life. You can come from a good family, you could be a good student, you could be a God-fearing kid, you could be a hard worker, you could beat the odds. Your dad could be a Hall of Fame player and you can beat the odds because not too many Hall of Fame players have good kids. So you can beat the odds. You can beat, he ain't his daddy. You can beat all of that growing up. But you still get a reminder.
Teams were embarrassed. Fans were furious, and Shedeur, graceful, cool, thankful. Not one bitter word. He just leaned into the story like, hey, let's add that to the villain origin montage. So the Browns picked him at 144, 5th round. But don't get it twisted. This ain't the end. It's the setup. He's got veterans like Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, and even Kenny Pickett to learn from. He's got a solid offensive line, and most importantly, he's got a locker room that's hungry for leadership.
Just as a player, I don't have an answer for you. You can make the case they felt like starters go in the first round. There's no reason to take a backup in the middle round. Just wait if you're going to take a backup later. I think in the right situations, surely as a player, he can be a productive starter in this league. Obviously, that opinion was not shared. They didn't feel comfortable and wanted to coach him, or I can't tell if they say he just skill set wise, there's not enough ceiling and upside for us to take him at the high portion of the draft.
This is where Shedeur flips the script. Every rep at practice is fuel. Every mic'd up moment is another chip on the shoulder. He doesn't have to be the week 1 starter. He just has to outwork every QB in the building until coaches got no choice but to give him the reins. You know how legends are made. Not with flash, with grind. And Shedeur, he's been grinding since high school. This ain't a punishment. It's a plot twist. Look, being Deion Sanders' son comes with blessings and curses.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but all this is of course, fuel to the fire. Under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't happen. We understand we on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary.
Blessing, you've got the genetics, the game, and a hype machine behind you. Curse, everyone's waiting for you to fail so they can say, see, he's not his dad. But that's the thing. Shedeur ain't trying to be his dad. He's building his own lane, his own game, his own legacy. This draft slide, it ain't the full story. It's the first chapter in a comeback tale that's already writing itself. The media will keep asking if he's coachable, if he's humble enough, if he can handle the pressure.
Surprised, and yet the talent, holy cow.
But don't sweat it, because while they debate, Shedeur's in the film room, in the gym, in the playbook, writing bars for the next post-game presser. Shedeur Sanders dropped in the draft, but he didn't drop off. He's in Cleveland now, with a chip on his shoulder, a cannon for an arm, and a lesson no coach can teach: how to survive a public fall without losing your cool. Some folks say the NFL humbled him, but the truth is, it just lit the fuse.
If the Giants are blowing somebody out, you think you should put Shedeur in? You think you should put Shedeur in? Then don't go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Do you think that you possibly could lose your job and Deion Sanders come in here? That's going to be every week, week after week after week after week if you don't win.
You think he's going to stay quiet? You think he's just going to wear a headset and clipboard all year? No, he's going to cook. And when he finally gets that chance, that one game, that one drive, that one moment, don't be surprised when he goes full beast mode and never looks back, because in the NFL, draft night don't define you. What you do after, that's what makes you a legend. So drop your take in the comments. Is Shedeur about to shock the league? Or did teams get it right? We'll see. But one thing's for sure.
I mean, how many times did Raul get touched? How many times did Raul get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently, and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know? But it's just like, you got to understand, like, what your team good at.
The Shedeur Sanders show ain't canceled. It's just getting started.